In this video, I'm just going to cover off a few more of the options within the EnergyTracker client. Now, if we go to full screen, we'll go up to our options. One of the things we can do is view the alarms that are being set. So if we click on View Alarms, what you see is this bottom part scrolls up. And what you'll see is each of your sites that are we're getting information from will be listed in this little view here. And you can see that it displays the current energy information in there, and the little alarm bell will change colour if the current energy consumption goes over the set threshold for that particular site. And if we want to turn on the ability to actually log alarming, what we do is go to the options and turn on what's called audible alarm options. Now we can enable that, and we can set the alarm threshold so that if the energy consumption of any of the sites exceeds 90% of the set threshold, then an alert is actually generated. And we can do this in an audible sense so that we can play the alert tone continuously until cancelled, or we can play the alert tone for a set duration so it doesn't drive you completely insane. And when an alarm is going off, to actually cancel that alarm, you just click on the actual the site icon associated with it, and that'll stop it. But as well as turning that on, what it does, it actually logs when an alarm is set and when an alarm is turned off. So when the threshold is exceeded and when it drops back below that value. And that's really good for in the evenings when you can't be there looking at this. You can actually see perhaps patterns occurring as to when your energy consumption exceeds the threshold and then drops back down again. We can do things like adding other modules for email or SMS or other forms of messaging. We don't put this into the EnergyTracker client unless a customer specifically asks for it, as it is a bit more of a complicated module that we add in there. And we can easily turn off viewing of the alarms, and it'll just disappear. Again, it's something you may not want to have up all the time because of the amount of real estate that you may have available to you on your screen and the number of charts that you may be displaying at any point in time. But the alarming feature is a good one, so that you can get a gauge or an estimate as to how often you're actually exceeding your energy thresholds. Some of the other things we can do, you can clear your alarms, so that list that you saw that would have all the logged information, that will actually clear that list. We can do things like set it as always on top. Now, setting it always on top, effectively what it does is it locks it so that any other windows that may come up, they will always go into the background behind this. And this really is only useful if you're going into the kiosk mode. Other things is such as the interface rotation options. This again is really good for public displays. So what you can do is, if you've got multiple sites defined, you can turn on scroll through sites and set the number of minutes as to the duration how each site is displayed. And what that does is the gauges at the top will actually change to display the next site's energy information, so it'll scroll through periodically showing you that information. And as mentioned previously, we can change the style from round to square and back again. That really does just make it more engaging if people are looking at it or aren't looking at it and they see this change. It may capture their attention and get them to have a closer look at what the interface is doing. If we go back down, we can look at things like energy production options. Now, the way that the EnergyTracker system works out the percentages shown for things like solar, wind and hydro is it records the maximum value ever received from that, and it uses that as the percentage of. And so if you get an anomalous value coming through, you can actually reset it just by clicking the down arrow or clicking the up arrow to increase it, and that changes that percentage coming through. And if you click apply, that will save those options. And lastly, if you've had enough of it all, you can just click exit. If you need to restart the client, it does start automatically when you reboot your computer, but that can be turned off. If we go down to our EnergyTracker client program group, it's right there along with its help file as well. So if you need more information about the EnergyTracker client and how it works, the help file will give you all the information you need. And that's all.